Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Welcome back to another electrifying episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Better, the podcast mogul. And today we're about to embark on a transformational journey with a guest whose name resonates with excellence in personal and professional development. Our guest is an international best-selling author and a beacon of inspiration in the world of transformational and personal development. Over an illustrious career spanning more than 3 decades, ladies and gentlemen, he has devoted his life to the relentless pursuit of personal growth and educational excellence. His profound insight and groundbreaking methodologies have empowered countless individuals to achieve their highest potential and transform their lives. Recognized as a guiding light in the industry, our guest's expertise doesn't stop at personal development. He's a certified real estate instructor by the state of New York, where he's passionately educates on every facet of real estate. His love for teaching and dedication to financial literacy have made a lasting impact, leading to his recent accolade, the prestigious Outstanding Educator Award for Career and Technical Education, CTE, by the United Federation of Teachers. Like, come on, can you get more prestigious than that? But that's not all. He's also a dynamic mindset and high-performance coach, bringing a wealth of knowledge on how to harness the power of the mind to achieve unparalleled success. Today, he'll share with us his transformational insight, his journey through the world of personal development, and actionable strategies can elevate your entrepreneurial game to new heights. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with invaluable lessons from a true titan in personal and professional growth. Join me in welcoming the extraordinary Rovan Deon to be a guest on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Rovan, thank you so much for being here, man.
Phil, how are you? It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm doing wonderful. And I'm glad that you're here because when I got your bio and when we got connected, I was like, yes, I want this man on the show, on the podcast, because I know he's going to change lives, mainly my life. I'm just looking to have my life changed. That's why I did this show, right? That's the smartest game in the game, right? So, Rovan, we're going to just jump into it. I gave you a lovely speech, but why did you decide to go from, the safe career to the entrepreneurial lifestyle?
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting. I've been in education, so I'm still an educator in New York City. So I still teach. I didn't totally leave that, but what got me into entrepreneurship is that I wanted more. And I'll tell you a little story. I live in New Jersey, but I work in New York City. And I was driving along the New Jersey Turnpike, and a lovely sunrise coming into the city. And it just dawned on me one day. It's like, early in my career, it's like, you know what? I really don't like the way this chapter ends. I don't feel comfortable leaving my destiny in someone else's hands. And I said, I've seen so many people come and go. And at the end of the day, they end up they die broke. It's a shame. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is it that I can do? What are my passions? What are my talents that I can just go out and just harness something that I not only to help me to have more and serve people and transform lives, but I also wanted to be able to pass on things down to my children's and their children's children, in essence, create a legacy.
I love that. Creating that legacy that can help, the future generations. Just like the old adage, best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. But the man who plants a tree knows he will never enjoy the true shade of that tree. It's for the generations to come. So, Rovan, not only are you shaping the minds of the future with your teaching, but you're also teaching yourself how to become this entrepreneur, trying to get to the next level. You're a best-selling author. You get the results that people want. what made you to go into being a professional personal development coach? Like
Ah,
why did that call to you? I understand being a teacher,
yeah.
that is a very special calling, and hats off to being a teacher, because I knew me as a student, if I had to go back, that would be I would change the way I did was a student. But why did you decide to go into professional personal development?
I got into personal development purely by accident. And as I told you, I lived in Michigan for a little while. I am from Louisiana, and I by way of Michigan, and I knew that I wanted to pursue my dream at that time, to be a professional dancer and choreographer. And that's actually how I came into New York. So, coming to New York on Columbus Circle, I was in Barnes and Nobles. No, I'm sorry, Coliseum Bookstore. Coliseum, no longer around, Coliseum Bookstore, up at Columbus Circle near Central Park. And I was wandering in there after rehearsal, and I stumbled up on this section called the self help section. I had no idea what that was. No idea. But anyway, I went there and I began to scan and look at different titles. I was like, wow, this sounds very interesting. Like, okay. And then I don't know, by some magic, my hands reached over, and my first book was Personal Power by Tony Robbins. And I sat there on the floor, and I began to read some of the book. And I said, well, I think I have a couple of coins in my pocket. I do want more. And I went straight to Central Park after that, found a bench, and I began to binge read. And it totally changed my life. And within less than 2 years, not only was I graduated from the Albert Ailey School of Dance, but I began to choreographing for the company inside of that transformational work. And so I noticed every time I went into that world of personal development, transformation, my life just rocked, man. And then when I was like, well, well, let me just lay off this stuff for a while. Like, yeah, I don't know, this is a little too good. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. So I stopped a little while, and my life would just plateau. It would just plateau. No longer in action, no longer could see what I needed to see in order to go to the next level. But as soon as I got right back, my life would just take off again. So for the audience that's listening, you have to do personal development. That's where it's at. I mean, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to have that secret weapon. You got to have something that's going to drive you, motivate you, to have you to see what I call to see the unseen. And the power of transformational development gives you those tools to just rock out, man. That's how I got into it. And why I never left.
I can see, like, this is I've never seen a man smile so much in an interview, and I can see that you are transformed into this happy person. You're doing what you love, transforming the minds of the future, while also building the next chapter of your life with this career. I want to talk about writing a book, because that is something
Mm,
that does leave a legacy, and
yeah,
as you know, changes lives. Because if Tony Robbins didn't write that book that you read that fateful day at
yeah.
Coliseum, we wouldn't have this conversation, and you wouldn't be the person you are today. So I want to know what was the initial instinct to write the book, and how did you develop the book?
Well, I have, you may know, I have actually three bestsellers. One's an international bestseller, and I have two other bestsellers, and I have one at the editor right now, which I'm looking to have published real soon. But that would be my first fiction book.
Oh,
And that fiction book, I'm playing the big game of turning that into a television series or a movie. That's the big game, and that's that transformational development talking there, where you just play big.
hmm.
But the books that I've written almost never was to be, because I was in college, and Professor Bandelay told me, he's like, listening to your story and the things that you share with me, I think you should write a book. And I was like, oh, who, me? Oh no, not me. You got to be talking to someone else. There's no way. Because first of all, I don't understand the mechanics. I moved around a little bit too much. I said, I'm very creative though. I said, I'll never run out of things to say. But I said, my mechanics are a little off here. And he said, Dr. Bandelay said, you know what? By the end of my course, I guarantee you, you're going to be this writer. So I did very well in this class. And you know what? Immediately, I didn't become the writer. I was a little too scared to do that because, again, I had the story in my head that I wasn't good enough, imposter syndrome. There's no way that I could write a book. Nobody's going to want to listen to what I have to say. And then many years later, I began to go into teaching. And then we have to take these exams. I don't know if people know, teachers have to take, in New York City, we have to take these exams in order to become, certified as a teacher.
Uh-huh.
And I noticed every time that there was a part of the exam to take, I would always get a perfect score in the writing. And I said, whoa, validation. What? Maybe I can write. Okay. And then I got more into the personal development world. And my very first book, I have here, my very first book is a transformational book. It's called You Already Have It, The Survival Guides to Life. This is all my secrets. But I got into that, you know why? Because I wanted to be that difference. I wanted to be that person like Tony to say, you know what? If I have something that I can give that can transform you, to move you to dare and take chances and be courageous and erase some of these things that you're dealing with, then I'm going to share it. And I know what it's done for me, and I just wanted to share. And that's how the first book came about.
I love it. Just pure altruism, sharing your journey, sharing how you transformed and have this epic life that you notice plateaus when you stop investing in yourself. On that topic of investing in yourself, I realize that obviously books are very transformational for you. You're an international bestseller. The first thing that helped you transform yourself was a book. But I'm wondering, is there anything apart from reading or audiobooks that you do that helps you invest in yourself to become a better teacher, become a better writer, become a better real estate, whatever it is, to invest in yourself that our audience can take away and start implementing themselves?
You have to get passionate about something, Phil. And to be really honest with you, I'm wired in such a way where I just nerd out on learning new stuff. I'm just a nerd like that, and nerds can be real cool as far as I'm concerned. Uh, it's just that if you want to learn something, I mean, we're so lucky now, Phil, the time in which we're living, because you can get information the how anywhere. Like there's no scarcity of learning anything that you want to know, whether that be in business or your personal life. It's like all over the place. It's just slapping us in the face, left, right, and sideways, to the point where we actually have tuned a lot of that out. And what's going to get you present is to sit, stop, and listen to your calling, listen to your passion, and lean into it. Just lean into it. Yeah, it's going to be a little scary. Yeah, but see, that personal development work will have you to deal with that fear. When I get something, when I'm creating something new, and here's something I would say to anyone who's in business. First of all, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You really do, because when you're comfortable, your life don't move. It's only when you get yourself, I actually call it the realm of miracles, where you dare to dream up something so big, you have no idea how you're going to fulfill it and freaking just go for it. And that's when you're going to really get a chance to know yourself. And once you decide to go after that thing, whether that's going to take you 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it's going to be, that journey becomes life. So you get a chance to create it. It's all in your power. No one can take that away from you. People say, well, you can't predict the future. I was like, yep, I sure can. You want to know why? Because I create it. I create life. I don't have life to create me. And that's the switch an entrepreneur really has to get and to move to the next level, that you are the creation of whatever that is for yourself.
Heavy, heavy, but that only comes from dropping into the personal development world for so long. Over 3 decades, you've been in this place. That's why you have these deeper, knowledgeable, golden nuggets that you're dropping here, where people who are just starting don't realize that they can create the life
Oh,
that they want. They can predict the future however they want. Like, I want to be a stay-at-home dad where I get to interview amazing people like yourself and,
yes.
take care of kids. I
Yes.
don't want to go out in this stressful world. Who wants that?
Yes.
Be a kid the rest of my life. That's what I want.
We get a chance to choose.
Yeah, and we get to create the future that we want and be the individuals we want. I want to reflect on your journey as a mindful and high performance coach. And what was a defining moment or challenge that significantly influenced your approach to coaching and personal development? And how did this experience, sorry, shape your methodologies or philosophies?
Ask it another way, Phil. Say, come again.
I want to know about an issue that you had, something that you had to overcome.
Hmm.
And after overcoming this issue, did it change or shape anything and how you viewed your method of coaching and helping others?
Yeah. I tell you something that I struggled with for a while. And it may seem like a strange struggle. Um, but if you once you begin to really know yourself, you'll find out you're multifaceted. And I grew up in an era where they say you have to be this one thing. And it messed me up. Like it was just tearing at me. I didn't know where to go left. I didn't know where to go right. Um, and this happened a couple, several times throughout my career and the different things that I've done. And what I came to realize is that if there's anything I want to share with your audience is that you don't have to be this one thing. You can literally have it all. You really can. So if I want to be today an author who writes books, tomorrow I'm a same author that's writing a book for films. And I'm also a teacher that's being awarded for outstanding achievements. And I'm also, well, I don't share this much, Phil, but I'm a hell of a guitar player. But I had to I would not, the challenge for me was being fully self-expressed as a human being. And I came with these limits that society put up on me, that you gotta do this, you gotta do that. But if you really look at the people who are really successful, they go totally against the grain,
Mhm.
totally against the grain. So in my coaching, what I do is I find out for my clients, I find out what is it that you want. Prime example, I had one client, um, he liked to play basketball, but he also loved to travel. And so I said, okay, great, got it. So what is it that you want to create for yourself? So we created for him a persona called Badass Baller, out of all
Love
things.
it. I love it.
He's totally stepped into that. And I said, and what is it that you always wanted to do, but you think you could never, ever do it? He said, I've always wanted to take basketball uh, out of the United States. He loved basketball. I said, great. What's the place you always wanted to go? He said, Thailand. I said, okay, great. So how would you just like to just go ahead and be a badass baller in Thailand and just do that? Probably took him less than 3 months, Phil. And the next thing I know, this young man was in Thailand playing basketball, playing with, I can't believe it. It's so incredible. With monks.
Monks.
Monks,
That's
monks.
insane.
But he created for himself the love of basketball, and he goes back and forth to Thailand, and he plays this. He created this relationship with a group of monks over there, and they go over there and they play basketball. And it was the first time I ever got back a nice yak scarf.
Oh my God, that is insane.
Insane, but that's the power of transformation and the power of coaching, and have people to be unleashed, and have people to not to be this one thing.
I love that how you stop focusing on that like one thing. Go
Yeah.
around, make mistakes,
Give
figure
that
out if
up.
you're going to play basketball with monks in Thailand, because you never know. Someone did it, so now someone else can too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Totally unleashed. And the thing is that another thing I had to get over is just being so freaking careful.
How
It's
did you
just
get
so.
over that? How
Oh
did you?
man, it started to hurt too bad because I wasn't getting the things that I wanted because I was playing safe. And then I realized, and we create in our minds this invisible presence who has no face and has no name that limits us. And it's kind of like the elephant with the stake in the ground. That rope is there, that rope is there, and then all of a sudden you take the rope away, but the elephant won't move away from the stake because he or she thinks that restriction or that constraint is still there. I had to just remove the constraint and just really step into what it is I wanted to create for myself. So it got to be very uncomfortable for me.
And dealing with that uncomfortableness as you grew, what what did you do to get comfortable with it?
The more you step into the unknown, the more comfortable it gets. It's kind of like when you get used to something, it's there, but like no longer there. It's kind of like fish to water. The fish say, "What water?" If you make something your norm, stepping into things, making things big, not sure how that's going to be, and just be excited about that, you kind of get used to it. And you kind of like when you don't have it, you start creating more stuff like, okay, what else can I do? What else can I create? Like for me, I have no idea, Phil, how the heck I'm going to write this book, this fiction book. I had no idea. But when I leaned into it, man, oh man, I said, wow, why didn't I do this? Because to me, this book is going to be on a par with Harry Potter.
Ooh.
I am like, it's one of those kind of adventure books. I did African DNA about 2 years ago and found out that my ancestry is from Cameroon,
Ooh.
right? And so the book takes place in the Mandara Mountains of Cameroon. And so, because I didn't see a lot of heroes that kind of look like me, I wanted to create more of those type of characters. Because when I saw Black Panther, that was a game changer for me. Because I'm like, wow, with such dignity and such grace, and well, just think anything's possible. So I'm just like, you know what? Now, how in the world am I going to make this a television series or a movie? Feel I have no idea. Is it a little scary? Yeah, but you know what? It feels so damn good. It just feels
I'm
great.
I'm
Just,
I'm
just,
excited. I'm
just
excited for
thinking,
you.
just thinking of the possibility. So you know what? What's the worst case scenario? That I wrote a good damn book. That's the worst case scenario. Like really? Possibly another bestseller. That's the worst.
Oh my
I
God, heaven
I think
forbid.
I think I can live with that. But I tell you, there's some spaces that I'm gonna be in that I'm not used to, and it's gonna be a little, that fight or flight. But we can't. It's wired in us. That's not gonna go away, by the way. So all those entrepreneurs out there who think that fear is gonna go away, your brain has been programmed like that for millions and millions of years. Guess what? It ain't going nowhere. So now that you know it ain't going nowhere, just greet it when it comes to hello fear, and then step into the next action. And as soon as you do that, the more you do that, that fear just kind of melts away. until the next thing you do.
Yeah. Till the next big fearful thing that comes your way.
Exactly. But make it big, man. Make it big. The how will come once your mind locks out. That's the thing about the power of the unconscious mind is that once you lock into something with your reticular radar system, right? Your subconscious figures out the how. That's his job. But you got to ask for it. You got to be up to something. You got to do something. You got to swing for the freaking fences. Because isn't that the only way to live life anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the end of your journey, I would hate woulda, coulda, shoulda.
It's very true.
So just grab those bats and swing for the fences, folks. That's
Just
what
like
I'll
Babe
say.
Ruth. Just like
Yeah,
Babe
just
Ruth.
swing for the fences like Babe Ruth.
I have a question for you. I want to know, since you create your own future, you manifest it, you create it, and you know where you're going to be in 10 years.
Oof.
I love looking 10 years in the future because
Yes, yes.
it's a
Thank you for
beautiful
doing.
future.
Thank you for this question. Yes.
Where is Rovon? Obviously, I'm pretty sure the TV show is uber successful, but I want to know where you are. What is Rovon doing?
10 years from now, definitely not retired from anything. Um, I tell you, what I one of the dreams that I actually stepped away from, Phil, as a teenager. Um, Believe it or not, and I almost stepped away from it. That I wanted to be. I wanted to be. This is gonna sound crazy, so forgive me. I wanted to be like the Black Ernest Hemingway.
Hmm.
And I pictured myself with a smoking jacket. I don't smoke, but like with a pipe, but the whole persona. Like
Yeah.
to me, he's just cool, who just gets up and does whatever he wants to do. Go to his computer or whatever device that we have. We'll probably be able to speak and we'll just do everything. And just freed up of just having it all and doing what I want, not to worry about anything at all other than to just be of service, just the ultimate service. Whatever I'm doing now, just be bigger, doing philanthropic kind of things. I love doing that. I love doing philanthropic kind of things. Um, I see myself again, maybe doing more books, of course, doing more movie stuff. Um, that's kind of like where I see myself in 10 years and just creating a legacy of people who are just out there that I can just sit back and just get invited to like nice places. Wouldn't that be
I like that.
cool?
That is a great thing. Like just like, oh, I know this amazing author who's fantastic, and then you just get invited to these amazing shindigs, and you didn't have to do anything other than change one person's life.
Yeah, but what if those people that are inviting you are the people you actually helped to get there?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. They go, I know this great guy, and then you get introduced to these amazing events. I love it. I love that dream for you, and I know you see it clearly. You see
Yeah.
it so clearly because and the conviction you have behind it. I know it's going to happen, and I'm looking forward to rubbing shoulders with you at one of those shindigs in the future, Ravone.
The grand shingding.
Yes, our big grand shindig that we're going to be at. But Ravone, I want to we're going to go backwards now. We went forward. We're going to go all the way back to when you were 10 years old. I have 10-year-old Ravone right beside me. Um, Great kid, very energetic. And I want to know, what's one piece of advice you would love to hand back to your 10-year-old self?
If I was to go back to my 10-year-old self, I think one of the biggest advice that I would give myself is kind of like what I've been talking. Um, Take more chances. Um, Dream bigger. Welcome the fear and put up a damn good fight.
Great advice. Great advice. Ravon, I'm going to jump off stage here. I'm going to let you have the last little bit. Tell my audience where they can connect with you, how they can find you, how they can support you, all that fun things. So the floor, sir, is yours.
Okay, great. So, well, welcome, audience. Again, thank you all for having me today. As far as if you want to get in contact with me for any one other reason, whether you want to be coached by me, you can just reach out to me. I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. That's probably the easiest way to find me these days, as I'm pretty busy. So if you just find me at Rovan Deon on Facebook, that would be great. To coaching with me, you can just privately DM me if you wish. As far as the books, all the books are on Amazon. It's worldwide. All three books, you already have it. The Soham Journal, and also Zero to Hero in Real Estate. So if you want to do that, work with me. Want to move some things, want to move to the next level, please feel free to just reach out to me. And if you say that's what you want and that's what you really want, then I should be the first person on your list because I just make that happen for people. So until we meet again, folks.
I love it. Ravon, I can't thank you enough for being here. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Oh man,
I'm
this was
looking
a
forward to
joy.
I'm looking forward to re-listening to the episode and pulling out all those nuggets that you dropped that I happened to miss or I was just too enthralled to capture. So thank you again for being on the show. It's a pleasure having you.
Phil, thank you so very much. Thank you for having me, my brother.
You're welcome. To my audience, make sure you check out the show notes down below to connect with Ravon because I'm telling you, he's going to transform your life. Before you know it, you'll be hobsnobbing with people you never thought you possible and inviting him along. I want to thank you all for very much for listening. And remember to always invest in yourself.